Since its inception in 1974, Business for the Arts has been forging creative partnerships between business and arts communities across Canada to build a vibrant cultural and economic landscape.
Business for the Arts is an organization that tries to find ways to engage business with the arts, young professionals with the arts, and essentially to promote the arts in innovative ways.
Business for the Arts, actually, which I think is a fantastic organization, really does incredible work to educate businesses about how our society needs the arts. And for a community to be healthy and flourishing and vibrant, we've got to have the creativity that the arts can bring.
Business for the Arts constantly bears witness to the wonderful things that happen when partnerships are formed between the private and cultural sectors. Whether it's cash sponsorships or the donation of resources, these partnerships have a lasting impact.
In a partnership, you're not just asking them for a check. You're asking them to really understand what you're trying to achieve, understanding its larger implications.
As an artist and an arts leader now, I've been very mindful of the fact that I stand on the shoulders of great artists, but also great philanthropists. And the reality is, whether today or in the past, great art doesn't exist without the two coming together.
To facilitate partnerships between businesses and arts organizations nationwide, Business for the Arts developed artsVest, a program that offers matching incentive funds and sponsorship training to encourage business sponsorship of arts and culture.
artsVest is a program that allows us to go into a community with a sum of money and essentially say to the arts organizations in that community, if you have a project you'd like to do, go and find a business sponsor and tell that sponsor that for every dollar they will provide, you will be able to get $1 from this fund.
I think that's what's interesting about the artsVest partnership is that it sort of provides the matching money so that the businesses aren't taking quite as much a risk and still having the impact.
I think artsVest gives arts organizations that have never thought about going into the business community that leverage to make them a little bit more comfortable doing those initial asks. So going, if you help us, we're actually able to double your support through the artsVest program.
An important element of artsVest is the training provided in participating communities, guiding cultural organizations through the art of negotiating sponsorships and generating private sector support.
It's made us think a little bit more critically about why the programs we offer are value and how to better articulate that value to a different audience, particularly the business community. And it's brought resources into our organization that we haven't had before that has enabled us to then do more of the programs and services that we're so proud of. We actually raise 75% of our operating revenue on an annual basis.
One of the big things as arts organizations is we're trying to get out there and work more with the business community. So I think artsVest really plays a large role in that it just sort of helps teach not-for-profits the skills they need to interact with businesses, understanding why businesses want to interact with arts organizations. And I mean, the funding aspect helps, obviously. I mean, as arts organizations, we're always looking for new sources of funding and new sources of revenue. But I think it's as much about building relationships with people.
When artsVest launches in a community, it brings the public, private, and cultural sectors together by hosting local roundtables, community building, and networking events. Since it began in 2002 with funding from the Ontario Trillium Foundation, Canadian Heritage, and the Ontario Ministry of Tourism and Culture, artsVest has operated in 17 communities across Ontario, creating over 400 partnerships and almost $2 million in business sponsorship, and is now expanding nationwide.
It energizes the community, the mayor gets involved, the Board of Trade gets involved, and it's just a wonderful program. It has had a tremendous impact in terms of the dollars involved. If you think of 10 communities, $50,000 each, that's $500,000, and that's more than matched by business. And then you can see that it would have a galvanizing effect on the communities involved.
Brantford, Ontario was one of these communities. Josh Bean, Executive Director of Arts Block, which is a community gallery in downtown Brantford with a focus on art-based urban revitalization, participated in artsVest in 2010.
I think in other communities, the arts are more appreciated than they were in Brantford, but I think we're sort of slowly changing that in Brantford, and I think there's a lot of respect for the business community in Brantford, so the more the business community is seen supporting the arts community, I think the better that is.
One of the key partnerships the Arts Block formed was with local storefront SC Johnson. Sponsorships with Scotiabank, the Neziol Insurance Group, and Millard Rouse and Roseburg LLP, a local accounting firm, were also secured.
In certain cases, you're sort of pulling on their heartstrings a little bit, trying to sort of convince them that what you're doing is good for the community. And sometimes when you go after the smaller guys, you're sort of trying to make the business case to them. And why should they support you? How will they benefit from the relationship? You know, with somebody like Neziol Group, they're a fairly decent sized insurance company in town, but you know, they're small compared to, say, an SC Johnson. So with SC Johnson, you're appealing more to their sort of philanthropic side, and with the Neziol Group, you're sort of, you know, trying to make that business case.
The Brant Historical Society, which has operated 3 museums throughout Brantford for over 100 years, also secured many business sponsorships through the artsVest program. One of their major partnerships was with Brodart, a local supplier of library equipment and supplies.
Brodart Canada was our largest sponsor, and they actually provided us with a range of products that we actually use for education programs, to help in our gift shop displays, and to be able to better care for our collection by providing conservation materials. Brodart is one of those companies that's been in Brantford for a very long time, but is not really well known in the community because it deals primarily with the library market. And so our being able to then promote, not just within the community, but within the broader museum community, their services and the kinds of things that they can do to help museums has been very beneficial for both of us.
We were able to partner with the Brant Historical Society through a product donation. Requests for monetary donations can be very difficult in tough economic times. There's many other creative solutions that arts organizations can present for sponsorship opportunities, perhaps a partnered advertising, product donation, services, or volunteer time. And all of those items have great value to organizations.
The Brantford Symphony Orchestra, which finds its home in the richly restored Art Deco Sanderson Theatre in downtown Brantford, has also benefited from BFTA's artsVest program. They formed an important partnership with TD Bank, the sponsors of their Symphony of Strings concert.
Brantford Symphony Orchestra has been in Brantford in this particular organization for 55 years. And it's important because it's a cultural and entertainment resource for everybody in the community.
TD Canada Trust, ingrained in our culture, is to give back to our community wherever we do business. We're very fortunate we were able to help out the Brantford Symphony Orchestra this year through our local donations program. We feel that a community full of arts, either visual, performing, or digital media arts, is part of what makes that community healthy and vibrant.
I think sometimes you can be a lot more innovative with smaller projects. Bigger projects require sort of due diligence and all that sort of management that goes with something that's being run nationally. So I often find, and I think we do at the bank, that on these smaller projects, we can be a little edgy, we can be innovative, we can involve people in a different way than we do when we try to do something that goes from coast to coast to coast. Obviously, as a bank, we do those sorts of things, the coast to coast to coast things. But sometimes I think the biggest successes we have are with the smallest projects.
I think as an organization, you have to decide, why are you getting involved? Part of TD Canada Trust's culture, it's giving back to the community where you do business. We're not looking for a monetary return on investment. It's the idea is that we're doing business here. We want to show our customers in our community that we care and that we're here to support. So I would tell organizations that are interested in volunteering or donating to look at their culture and pick an organization that culture would mimic yours, and maybe create some pillars that's saying, you know, we want to support the following type of organizations. And again, do some research, make sure that the organization you're supporting, again, reflects or mimics your beliefs. And I think that way you get the biggest return.
We've built a number of partnerships within the community. TD is just one of a number of them, and we have to look for the ones that have a similar interest or need that we can service by doing something together, and that's the best advice that I can give.
The reality of it is that musicians, like myself, we do love what we do, but we also love to eat. Musicians have to eat too, and so and these are professionals. All our musicians are professional musicians. This is their livelihood. So in order for us to be able to use them, in order for us to have this sort of professional level of music in Brantford, we have to have the finances and all the partnerships that we can develop within the community, to the businesses, to the individuals, and so on. Every one of those is important to us.
In addition to monetary money, we've also provided volunteers. So at this year's recent jazz festival, we had people giving out pamphlets, helping with the children's art mural. So we do a lot, not necessarily monetarily wise, but we'll also provide volunteers.
Some of the advice that I would give would be first, really be clear about what it is you're going after from the businesses. Make sure you understand what the businesses want and what their needs are and how they fit with your organization.
One of the things that plays into sponsorship that a lot of businesses and not-for-profits don't think about is that the more you're doing, the more you're out there, the easier it is to start getting those sponsorship dollars and start getting that support.
Whether you're going to your local branch or going to our head office location in Toronto, I'd say come out, ask us. We want to give, we want to support our community. We believe that the more we give to our community, the bigger the investment we're going to see in the city growing. So we want to give back.
As artsVest continues to forge partnerships nationwide, BFTA remains at the forefront of the conversation on business investment in the arts in Canada. By sharing our research and knowledge through businessforthearts.org and artsvest.com, we offer a platform for dialogue to bridge the gap between business and the arts.